Hey, welcome to today's live. And today we're going to talk about such an important topic. I'm hoping that you're going to get a lot out of it today because I've got so much to share with you. Because today we're going to talk about one of those kind of controversial things that people say, and it's this: stop trading time for money. So, what does that mean exactly when we do that? Well, that's what we're going to talk about today because, most of us grew up thinking, um, we're told that work hard equals financial reward, right? Maybe you saw that with your parents or people in your family, and maybe you've done that. Maybe you're still doing that. That if we work harder and we work harder, that's going to mean that we're going to make more money, right? So we've grown up being told time is money. How many times have you heard that? Look, time is money. We got to get right to it because time is money, right? But you know what? Here's the thing. It isn't true. It really is not true. And I'm going to show you how you can shift your beliefs about whether or not time is money. We're going to do that right now because here's the thing. More physical effort, thinking I'm going to work harder, I'm just going to, put more muscle into it. I'm going to spend more time, more backbreaking labor, whatever that might be. More physical effort, you're going to wear out. Maybe you already have, or maybe you saw that with someone in your family. Maybe you saw that with one of your parents, that they just kind of wore out from all that physical work of trying to do the very best they could to make the money, right? More mental and emotional effort, you're going to burn out. And that's something that's also very common. It's just like, you're going from dawn till dusk, 7 days a week. It's really expending so much energy going into trying to build something out for your business or what you're doing or how you're going to get clients and all those things. And pretty soon when that happens, you're going to burn out. So either way, it's not sustainable. And what we want is a sustainable way for you to make money in your business. Now, I frame everything from freelance copywriting because that's what I do. That's what I've done for almost 20 years. That's what I teach. That's what I show other people how to do because it is the most leverageable, profitable skill you could learn in your marketing, and it's also the most highly paid if you're interested in writing at all. And so everything I say comes from that perspective of online marketing and copywriting. But let's take a little test together right now, okay? So just kind of let's put our imaginations to work and think about this. What if I had this big bag of money and I could give you $1 million right now, like guaranteed, big giant bag of money delivered to your front door in the next 30 minutes. And it's like, wow, finally I've hit the mother lode. It's like, Publishers Clearinghouse came to life, any of those things. And you can truly have $1 million in cash, but there's only one catch. Your life ends tomorrow at 6 a.m. Oh, okay. So if that were the case, how many of you, and I hope it's none, would take that giant bag of money that you'd have for a few hours if that was it? End of the line. You're gone from the world. You're gone from your family. You're gone from all the potential of your life by 6 a.m. tomorrow. Well, most of you are probably, I hope all of you would say, I'm not taking that deal, right? I'm not taking that deal because you know what? You already know at some level, you already know time is more valuable than money. You can have all the money in the world, but if you don't have any time to use it, leverage it, enjoy it, implement any of those things, what good is it going to do you? It's not going to do you any good. So let's talk about what that means and how we get there, all of those things, because recently I was asked about, I mentioned something about a mastermind I'm in, and I invest heavily in myself every year, have since I started as a freelance copywriter, to be able to increase my skills and increase my knowledge base, all of those things, and also to be around people that are already super successful, right? And so someone said, well, what in the world, what could there possibly be in a $155,000 mastermind? But here's the thing. That was what that showed me is the frame of reference and the belief system that someone would say that from, because it's the point that is being missed here is it's not about how many hours do I get, because they were like, well, what could you possibly be getting that's any different? What could you possibly be learning? And so the point is, it's not a formula that is how many dollars for how much time, right? If you're investing in yourself at that level, there's a reason why. And it's not about, well, I need to have this many hours a week of this much time with this person to make it worth it to be able to invest at a high level. And one of the other things I'm going to add in here is I also believe I come from a place of you cannot expect anyone to invest in you at any robust level if you're not willing to invest in yourself and walk the walk yourself. You're not willing to do the thing you're asking other people to do, or whatever level that might be at. It might be way less than $155,000. Maybe for you it's 8,000 or 10,000. But the point is, it's not about time. It's about value. It's about the value from being in that kind of a scenario. And it's raising the bar on your own beliefs, because beliefs are, it could be faith, it could be fear. They're both beliefs. Which do you believe the most about what you're capable of and what you're doing in your life? And so it's raising the bar and shifting and recalibrating, restructuring some of your own beliefs about what's possible, about how you achieve certain things and what you are capable of being, what you're capable of doing, so that you can have the results that you want. Because remember, fear and faith are both still beliefs. So here's what happened just really recently, like yesterday, I was having this conversation with members of this particular mastermind. And so there's an individual in it that last week, in just a few days, they brought in $6.7 million. Okay, for real, $6.7 million. Now, this is a high bar for any of us, right? And the community was just like rising up to embrace them and support that and celebrate that, all of those things, because they did it within just a couple of days. They didn't do it with harder physical work. They didn't do it with a physical product. They didn't do it with having to manufacture anything. They didn't do it with a really high level of investment first that then made it very low return on what they were actually bringing in as far as the profit margin, that type of thing. They did it with intellectual property, with their brilliance, with their zone of genius, with strategic marketing, all of those things. But that's how they did it, and with a very low profit margin as well. You didn't have to have a team of 47 people suddenly, to be able to sustain or deliver it. So it was high value results for the people that invested in that particular program, with high value pricing that reflected the return on investment that they would be able to get by participating in that particular training and delivering the results. This is always about being in integrity and authenticity and delivering the thing you actually say you're going to do. But being in a room with people like that, being in a room where this is literally happening, it's not just some hypey thing that you're hearing about in the far reaches of the internet, but you actually know the people yourself, and knowing it's possible, experiencing high levels of success for yourself in this particular community. And I'm not selling you this community. I'm just telling you why, because someone said to me, why would you do that? Because in this, and you have to be selective. You have to know, what you're joining and why you're there. But in this particular environment, in this community, it's very commonplace every single week when we meet together. It's very commonplace for people to be sharing the news about their $100,000 days, or their $100,000 months, or their $1 million days, or their $1 million months. And this one kind of blew the roof off. That was 6.7 million, right? It's about the value that I'm receiving in that particular community of the transformation. And the same is true for you. The value of the transformation is what you should be thinking about in your business. If you're a freelancer, now I'm talking about people that are entrepreneurial coaches, copywriters, entrepreneurs of various types. So you have more control. I'm not talking about being in a job where you have to follow the rules of exactly how the pay structure is, all of those things. I'm talking about being independent, freelancer, entrepreneurial, all of those things. And so whatever you have, that it's about delivering that value to the people that you serve. And then doing it with certainty and confidence in what you do. Now, maybe you're thinking, well, wait a minute, where did this time and money thing go? Don't worry, we're there. This is a pathway to how you're shifting your belief about time is money. No, it's not. Quit trading your time for money, that type of thing. So also, someone said to me, well, when we talk about pricing, what we do, how we put that value, how we establish the value of what we have for people, whether it's in a service or a product, coaching program, whatever it may be, they said this is, when people undercharge for their services, this is really hard for all of us. It makes it more difficult for everybody, because everyone expects, everybody expects you to be cheaper, right? And they're going to come up with this price resistance thing. But see, this is the deal. It should be a non-issue. That should not even concern you. It shouldn't even be a blip on your radar if someone else is charging less. Now, we've experienced this way back before I was online. My husband and I sold physical products, right? And one of the things we sold were hand painted denim shirts. We didn't paint them ourselves. We never represented that we did, but they're very cool, very colorful, really clever designs. And we went to craft shows and swap meets and places like that. Yeah, we did that face-to-face stuff. And we had environments sometimes, because these were findable online to be able to buy wholesale. We had experiences where there's somebody right down the road with their Easy Up or whatever selling the same thing, right? And I mean, literally, we could, see each other, and we always had ours priced higher than theirs. And guess what? We outsold them. We could see clearly that we were outselling them, because people would be swarming our booth and not theirs. What made the difference? Same product, right? If we had allowed their lower pricing to affect us and gotten engaged in this, fisticuffs battle of the race to the bottom of who can be the cheapest, we never would have become one of the top sellers in the country of these hand-painted denim shirts. In fact, there were certain colors that the painters of them could not keep up with us, because we sold them so briskly that they were running out, right? And this was way before supply chain and all these things that are going on now. And so what made the difference was our whole attitude about it, the energy we brought to it, the way we connected with people, how we got to know them even in a brief time of what they were looking for, how we could serve them more effectively. All of those things came into, we created an atmospheric bubble around our little Easy Up display with our very same shirts that someone right down the way also was selling. So that's just the most basic level of this, because those people that were going for the cheapest, were not our people. Our people, the people that purchased from us, were looking for something different, that relationship, that spark, that personal help, that story of something about the colors of the shirt, or, getting a story from them of why they wanted the shirt, or whether it was a gift. All of these things got involved in it. And so it became the pricing of someone else's with the same thing became an absolute non-issue. Their people weren't our people. Now that's a writer downer if you're in a service-based industry, if you're writing for people, or maybe you're doing funnel building, whatever you might be doing. But in our case, as I said, we're talking about freelance copywriting. What I do is way different than there's a lot of people out there saying that they're copywriters. I teach copywriting. There's a lot of copywriting programs out there. How is mine different? It's a non-issue to me, because I know with certainty and confidence that what I have is high value. It delivers results for my clients. And so when the competition sets the price, if you allow that to happen, it is a race to the bottom of the barrel. You don't want to go there. You don't want to be there on the bottom, because very, very long climb, because you've already created a whole persona and brand, so to speak, around what you're doing, that you're the cheap one, right? And people don't expect to get the highest quality from the cheapest price. If you buy a used, I don't know what, Yugo, something that's not even made anymore, a little old rattletrap car, maybe your first one, you don't expect it to have the high quality that a Mercedes might have. You just already know that's not going to be the case. The value, the experience, the quality is going to be different. And it's in so many things, right? And so it starts with that belief for yourself about the value of what you have. And this is often where things fall apart. This is where things start, the staggering messaging kind of thing, the drunken sprawl of what your words end up trying to communicate. Because and our own energy and belief about that, because if we operate from a place of scarcity or lack, any of those things, it's like a beacon. It might as well have like a light flashing over your head. You remember some of you might remember the old days at Kmart. They had a blue light special, and then turn on the blue light somewhere in the store. That thing would be flashing like a beacon. Cheap price here, cheap price here. And that's what you do not want to do in your business, is set that beacon of flashing on and off over your head that's broadcasting your low energy, your low belief in yourself, your low certainty about what you can do, and worst of all, your scarcity mindset. So you need to operate everything in your business from a place of knowing, a place of confidence, a place of certainty. And your messaging should be crystal clear about that. Crystal clear about who you're for, who you're not for. Crystal clear about the transformation, because people aren't just buying, again, we're talking about copywriting, words on a page, right? I just need a headline. I just need a bullet point. I just need an offer. Well, dime a dozen copywriters are there all over the place. You can find someone very easily that will do that for the bargain basement pricing. What's that transformation going to be for you? Hard to say. Might be just really a shot in the dark that you're going to get the results that you're looking for, because the individual you're dealing with does not have the mindset themselves of the abundance and the skill set and the tool set and the mindset to be able to deliver. So the value of your transformation, and again, I'm speaking from the terms of writing as a freelance copywriter, for example, but it applies across the board, is that return and investment for your client. It's the transformation. You're selling the result, not the stuff, not the widget, not the process. You're not selling the process, you're selling the result. And so, especially when it comes then to pricing, time is money, right? Is it or not? That's what we're talking about today. When we're talking about your pricing, you need to keep in mind that return on investment for the client, that potential return on investment. Now, we never promise. I teach never promise. I never promise you will absolutely get this result. I'm not telling anyone anywhere you're going to absolutely make this much money, because it's always up to the individual to implement, to follow through, to do all other things, all those other moving parts that happen, especially with a sales process, right? But the thing is, when something is working, the potential for your client to be able to make thousands and thousands, hundreds of thousands, even millions of dollars from the thing you wrote, you need to have your pricing. You need to have that dialed in of what that potential is for your client. And you need to have your pricing set accordingly. Let's just say you charge $8,000 to write. And then this is the low end. This is like entry level pricing. Let's say you're charging $8,000 to write the components of a marketing funnel, the opt-in, the sales letter, the emails, maybe your webinar. That would be very, very reasonable pricing. Most entrepreneurs would snap it up if they felt like you could deliver the goods, because they would also already know that this was really like, wow, okay, this is not very expensive for what it's going to do for me. Because let's say they have a coaching program. Let's say they have a coaching program that's $10,000 and they invested $8,000 with you to be able to get all the parts and pieces for that automated funnel, automated marketing system that's going to run like clockwork and make it much easier for them to promote and sell what they have. And all it takes is one sale of their $10,000 program, and they've already gotten the return on the investment of paying you $8,000. We're doing the math here. And so then go further with that. Week after week after week, they keep selling it. What if they only sold one a week, which would be very, very low conversion? $40,000 a month in sales from the original $8,000 investment in you times 12 in a year is $48,000. If they only sold one a week, and that would be pretty darn bad conversion, they might add. If they only did that and they made $48,000 from the things you wrote for them that they invested $8,000 in. Are you getting the picture here? You need to really be kind of reverse engineering. What is that potential? All of that, those are the most modest, low numbers ever, most conservative example. But I use that just to show you how powerful what you do is, especially as a freelance copywriter. And whatever you're doing in your business, you need to be able to kind of figure that out. You need to be able to reverse engineer. What is that transformation? What are they going to achieve? Maybe you're in weight loss or fitness or pain relief or something to do with parenting. There's so many different things, and they don't always have a dollar amount attached to them. Not always. Sometimes we're marketing things that have other benefits that have to do with emotional stability, family unity, legacy, health, being able to joy in life instead of being depressed. I mean, there's a lot of things that aren't necessarily directly attached to a dollar sign, and you need to deeply understand what that is in your particular niche market so that you can clearly communicate that outcome, that benefit. So I hope that's getting through. This is also how you create higher value for what you do. So you need to stop trying to get people to buy. When you approach with that energy that it's a needy kind of, you need to not attract people who are needy, and you need to not be needy yourself. And so if you go at it thinking, I gotta get this deal, this has to work, that energy is going to be all over the place. You might as well have a sign over your head, needy, 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 right? And so the shifting in your belief, you have to become the person who can do this thing of letting go of that outcome in that way so that you can have the results and attract the right kind of people. And that's how it works. You create an environment that allows people to shift into feeling like buying from you, that you're creating an atmosphere that allows them to make that shift and not you to be like, oh, you need to buy my stuff kind of energy. Allow your energy to be, you know what? I don't care. And I don't mean you don't care about the people you work with. I mean, you are not attached to this outcome in this really intense, emotional, energetic way. You don't need them. If they do or they don't, you don't need them. So you do your thing, you do it clearly with certainty and confidence about what you have, and you release the outcome. And really, you can think this or something better. That's just a phrase you can use like right now today, this or something better, and truly believing, shifting your beliefs and your faith to that instead of, oh my gosh, what am I going to do? Kind of a belief or shifting. And there's so many things going on right now in the world that could take you down that path. And it's up to you to make a decision, starts with a decision, and choose to go a different route and choose to think it differently for yourself and communicate what you do so vividly to your prospects, to the people that are looking at what you have and are considering that they feel that. They feel that vividness. They feel what it will be like before they get there, in the sense of this is the outcome we can have. This is what that would feel like. And you create that with your marketing, with your messaging, with your communication, with your thinking, all of those things. You paint a picture basically of the life that this person can have when they work with you, the transformation, and paint them into that picture in your communication, that you're going to bring them into that imagery with you. Attract people who don't believe they're poor. They don't have a scarcity mindset. They already have an abundance mindset. They are willing to take that next step because they're people who understand value versus price. They're more concerned about the value they're going to get and than what it will take to get there as far as the financial aspect. And I don't know, maybe some of you are thinking this is impossible. It is absolutely not. It is totally possible. And not only that, it is completely essential if you want to be able to build that business that isn't time for money, just hours for dollars, straight across the board, right? Like as if you were in a job, that had an hourly rate and this is it. That's all there is. I was talking to someone the other day that said, they're considering being more entrepreneurial. And we were just talking about flexibility of how that works. And they just happened to comment that sometimes in their job situation, they are not allowed to be able to work a little longer to finish a project that they would very much like to be able to do, that they're engaged in it. They're wanting to do it. They're doing an excellent job, but, oh, look what time it is. You have to stop now because we're not authorized to have you even work 15 minutes longer than that time. And so these are such restricting kinds of ways of thinking. That's why many of us have become entrepreneurial, because we want that flexibility and we want to be able to go the distance without it being this many dollars for this much time. Whoops, reach the time, can't go any further, right? I reach the time, can't go any further vertically as far as increase in revenue for yourself. Raises, right? The traditional thing, if you got a raise, a few dollars a year, that might last to buy another loaf of bread or something, that really isn't doing all that much for you. So you want to focus on creating an environment of high achievement, right? Not only for your clients, but for yourself as well. So how do we do that? Let's talk about how you compress time, right? You're going to compress time, and you're going to move into really being able to create an atmosphere of high achievement based on the value that you bring. And so let's talk about that now. How do you become a high achiever? So here's how it works. Okay. High achievement. And I don't mean, again, this isn't about working harder, working longer. This is about a shift in how you think, a shift in what you believe, a shift in what you see as possible for yourself. So high achievement starts with that intention. It starts with actually really having the intention of what it is that you're creating and what it is you're bringing to the table. And now there's a pathway with this. And so you should expect this, because high intention is followed, and this is really a word, because I looked it up when I wanted to use it, turbulence, right? That whirlwind, that cyclone of some kind of resistance, some kind of pushback, something didn't go right, and things are suddenly getting more complicated, the technology fell apart, whatever it may be, you should expect turbulation. That could also be you've started a new program, you've invested in something that you're learning, and suddenly it's like, it's too hard, I can't do it, I'm overwhelmed. You start, your old thinking is going to start saying, hey, this is different. This is a whole other kind of how your brain works. story that we don't have time to go into today, but that's what happens. Your brain will start to say, this is not the way we usually do things. And so maybe we need to stop before we go any further. You should expect the turbulation. That's what happens. That's like our little granddaughter is just 10 months old. And yesterday we got a video of she's learning to walk. And she's been crawling. First, she was crawling kind of like one leg didn't kind of want to cooperate. So she was sort of dragging that knee along. And then all of a sudden she was standing up and holding on to things and cruising with the one hand. And now she's racing forward, trying to walk, wobbling a little, all over the place, sideways, falling over, and we all learn to walk like that. Right. And if we had stopped, that's the turbulation. As that intention is there, I'm going to walk. Then the turbulation comes up. Well, it's not so easy on the first few steps. I'm crashing over this way. I'm falling down. I'm crawling. I'm getting back up. Right. It's kind of like that all through our lives. And it certainly can be like that in your business. But what happens if our little grandbaby says, okay, I'm not going any further. I'm just going to sit here, do nothing. Right. And never get anywhere. All those things. You have to walk before you can run, all those things. But as she gains her footing and she gains her stability, she's already learning, and her brain is learning that she can do it, and that she can get better and better at it until she's going faster with more steadiness and more certainty and more confidence. Same for you in your business. The lessons you learned when you were less than a year old. Okay. Next comes inspiration. This is where we're going to start drawing into more creativity. This is ideas that we could get from a mastermind, from the programs that we're in, from coaching, from mentoring, all of these things. We start getting the inspiration about what is possible in our business. And sometimes that inspiration comes from case studies, from other people's experience, all of that. But after that, you need illumination. Illumination is something that I talk about all the time in my programs, because I believe there is a divine connection, that you have a divine assignment, that you are called forward. There's a reason why you're even thinking about this or doing what you're doing in the first place, because something greater outside of yourself is propelling you forward, calling you, beckoning to you to step into the power that you have the ability to unleash, but may have forgotten that you do. Okay, because that often happens. And that's why next comes recognition. The recognition that things are starting to work, that you actually can do this, that certain ways you're learning to think are starting to change the outcomes, that when you're letting go of that scarcity mindset, you're creating more abundance, that it's really happening, and you recognize that it is, and you pay attention to the fact that it is, because then that's punctuated by celebration. Woohoo! That you really celebrate when you see those steps unfolding, when you see things getting clearer, when you gain more clarity, when you have a better understanding of what you truly have to offer, and also understand that you could be adjusting your fees accordingly, that you can have a different mindset that's beginning to run the show instead of the old thinking. Because when you get to that point and things are really starting to ramp up, now it's time for delegation. This is also another way you create more time for yourself, by beginning to delegate some of the smaller jobs, some of the routine jobs, some of the things that are not the high dollar an hour type of because sometimes we do think in hourly in that sense of what would it be if I, what is my time worth at this point, based on what I'm able to command for fees for my time and for my services. So then it's time for delegation. And then the grand wrap up of that is automation. And this is where certain tasks, and maybe you're going to start using funnels, or maybe you already are, or you have other aspects of technology that someone else that you've delegated this to is able to implement for you. And this is all part of the way you move forward in that certainty in your business and creating exactly what it is you desire to have. So now I'm not a great mathematician. I'm the one with no college degree. All right. I was on my own at 17, and now I haven't balanced a checkbook like in years, because I don't need to. I just, that went by the wayside a long time ago. And I have teams to do everything to do with the numbers. Right. But we're going to do some easy math today, because I'm going to take you on a little journey, 5 ways to make $1 million. I probably should have called this presentation that 5 ways to make $1 million. Who's up for that? And I think what it's really going to do is illustrate a point for you, because sometimes when we think of the numbers, and I fully acknowledge this, that sometimes when we think $1 million, it sounds like so much. And it is, but it's also really possible. And it's possible to shift your belief about if it's possible for you. We talked about this in another video I did, where I talked about what's the word rich mean to you? What does the word wealthy mean to you? So let's just start here. Let's do some simple little journey here. So what does it take to make $1 million? Well, If you make $25,000 a year, it'll take you 40 years. Now, that's definitely not a get rich fast scheme, and you may not even be around long enough to see it come to fruition by the time from wherever your starting place is to add 40 years of working at that level to be able to get to the $1 million. Probably not going to have time to enjoy it. Probably never going to feel like you actually made that much. And there you go. That's the reality of that one. Now let's speed things up to about a quarter time. Okay. I decided to go like, we're going to like shave off 75% of the time. $100,000 a year. Okay. When you make $100,000 a year, you can get to the million in 10 years. Well, that's looking more promising, right? That's looking a little more like I can see the horizon, and hopefully still be here in 10 years, all of those things, but about 10 years, right? To make $1 million. Okay. Well, let's keep going. Let's shave off another 75%, $400,000 a year. Well, that way, 2.5 years to $1 million. Wow. This is really starting to get interesting now. That is starting to look like getting, past the rearview mirror and it's right in front of me. And by the way, I was able to do more than this in my first year as a freelance copywriter with no previous experience. Not saying you're going to do that. Not saying anybody else is going to do that. Just sharing my journey and to help you see it's possible to do things you never thought you'd be able to do. If you had asked me even a few years before that, the most I'd ever made was, I think it was $3,200 a month, about 36, 38, a little under $40,000 a year. Again, doing the math in my head, I thought I'd hit the big time. Honestly, I really did not think, and I say this with all respect, I never thought I'd go beyond that. And I thought the only way I would, because I worked at a university, was just to stay there long enough. Remember that 40 years thing? To be there long enough to maybe I'd get to 50,000, right? Like a year, how many years would that have taken? I don't even know. I didn't do that one, but it would have been slow. It would have been slow. And then here's something to think about. What if you could do it in 1 year? What if you could do it in a year? Wow. That's a big stretch. A lot of times when you're first starting to make more money to think, is that even possible? How did I do that? And that is approximately $333 a month. $83,333 a month. Wow. Okay. That sounds like a lot, right? So, but here's the thing, whatever your goal is, start reverse engineering it. Okay. And break it down. You can literally set a goal for this is whatever yours is. It might be 100,000, might be 250,000, might be $500,000, whatever it is. Take your goal and start reverse engineering. What would I need to be charging to make X amount of dollars a month? Or if I'm creating a program, what would that program need to be priced at? And how many sales would I need to get to this much a month? Now, of course, all of this is completely on the foundation of you can deliver the goods. You can deliver the things that you're promising, the things that you're saying you can deliver. And we're not building this on smoke and mirrors and hype and all of that kind of stuff. But let's just, for the heck of it, let's break down $83,333 a month. That's $2,778 a day. Okay. So there's a lot of people that have programs that are $3,000, right? If you had a program that was $3,000 or $2,997, in the general ballpark, that's just one a day. That would just be selling one a day. You see, when you start breaking it down like this, it's like, well, would it be possible for me to sell one program a day? If that's not like an overly ambitious, like, oh, that's just crazy town kind of thing thinking, because then you break it down further. And if you were still willing to put in 40 hours a week, which a lot of us are not, that's $347 an hour. Okay. That's starting to look like, oh, okay, well, that's good, but it's not like, it's not like $20,000 an hour, right? It's like that seems achievable. And if you want to work 20 hours a week, that's $1,388 an hour. You could do a paid consultation for more than that. That only takes an hour. Okay. You could have a series of paid strategy sessions. You could move people from free consultations into paid strategy sessions. You could actually get paid twice, once for doing the consultation and once for delivering whatever it is that you were consulting about. So, or how about this? Let's take a look at this. Let's break it down even further. How about $8,333 in a month, or a week, or a day, or an hour? Start reverse engineering that. There's a lot of people that don't make that in a month. That is what it takes to make $100,000 a year. There's a lot of people that don't make that in a month, or they do work every single day of the work week of the month, maybe more than 40 hours a week to make it. Then it's possible that you could be doing something that you make that in a week, a certain type of project that you're doing, building a funnel, writing copy, whatever it might be. Maybe you're ghostwriting a book. Maybe you're breaking that into, okay, you charge 15 or 16,000. So that means you'd make approximately this much per week. If it took you a couple of weeks to fulfill, you have to figure all those numbers out for yourself. What if you could do it in a day with a program or a coaching program or whatever you have, or your deliverable, whatever you're going to write for them. Remember what I was saying about, like, if you're doing copywriting for funnels, that the bare minimum really should be $8,000. So you just need to add on a little bit more, a little bit, one other element to the project, overlapping your projects, whatever. So that you get to that kind of average of 8,333 and you write it in a month. There you go. You've got a six-figure year. And maybe you're going to do consultations, or you have a certain type of mentoring or coaching you do where you can literally charge that for an hour. I know a doctor who she has programs, she has coaching programs, and the very least that she charges is $8,000, and it's an 8-week program. Okay. So all of these things, that's how you can hit your first goal. That might be making $100,000 in a year. This is how you can start breaking it down so that you're getting to that place you want to go. And this is how you compress time. Okay. You compress time by charging enough, by getting the skills you need, by investing in yourself to get the skills you need, and knowing that you're going to make that investment pay. You're going to get the return on investment for yourself. It's really about creating bigger output in what you do with less personal input. So you're not just like straining your way through this, just trying to scrape together the revenue and thinking that you have to be in that racing to the bottom scenario with someone else with their low priced products and projects. And what you really don't want to do is buy yourself a job. We want to become entrepreneurial or become freelancers to give us the lifestyle freedom, to give us that flexibility of revenue, to be able to propel ourselves with the momentum forward through anything. And again, with, when people are like, yeah, but look what's happening on the news or whatever. I already did a video about this, and you can find it on my channel, but it's really how you can outwit, outlast, think anything like inflation or any looming anything's on the horizon with financial things, because your skills are not subject to that. No one can take them away from you. When you build that foundation of really learning how to do what you do to the best of your potential and really embrace the thinking that goes with it. It's more than just learning the stuff. I'm just going to keep emphasizing this. It's more than just learning how to do the things. It's about being able to shift your belief about what's possible for yourself and not have it just springing out all over the place. You might as well have, that blue light, special light from Kmart of the past flashing over your head saying, I'm the cheapest one on the block because I don't have enough faith in myself that I can charge more. And so you start at a certain point. My first sales letter was like $250. Okay. But I quickly escalated as I was seeing the results I got for the client, as I realized that letter I wrote sold out her event in Las Vegas. And then the next person, and they did something great with that. And then the next thing of $4 million in 30 days for the client. The client made that from a 2-page letter I wrote. And I did that in the first year of myself as a copywriter, right? And they made $1 million in profit. So when you start seeing the results like that, or your client comes back and says, I got the job because of the thing you wrote for me, or my sales just increased by this percentage, or my conversion rate increased by 15% because of that letter that you wrote for me, because of the sales piece you wrote for me. This is what's happening to our sales. These are all signals for you that what you're doing is working. And if you're ghostwriting a book, for example, and the person's using that as a lead magnet and able to increase their audience and increase their sales because you took their content and put it into a book, right? You should be charging enough to make that worth it for you and worth it for them, and knowing that they're going to get way beyond what your initial output is. And this is how you compress time. This is how you shift from thinking time is money, and instead knowing time is your most valuable commodity. And when you reframe how you're doing the money, because there's a saying of how you do money is how you do everything. And if that's what's happening, you need to take a step back and really look at how you're presenting to the world, how you're what you're doing with your programs. One of the biggest problems I see, one of the biggest stumbling blocks for new copywriters, is you stay in the bargain basement for pricing way too long. You don't have to pay your dues for year after year, getting ready to get ready to get ready, because that really comes from a place of uncertainty in yourself, not in your ability, but in your belief about what's possible. And keep your hands out of other people's wallets. You know, don't, it's actually, think about it this way. You're actually demeaning someone and disrespecting them if you decide for them what they are capable of investing or not. That's not our jobs. Our jobs is to create the quality, create that whole atmospheric condition of certainty, hone our craft, attract the right kind of people that are already thinking abundantly, that are not bargain shopping, that are not just price shopping and looking for the lowest price on the block, knowing that that's not you, and claiming that for yourself right from the beginning, and allowing others, creating an atmosphere where they can choose and decide and feel like investing in you. I hope this helps you with this whole complex of how you get out of the time for money mentality, and that it really is entirely possible. I'm going to take a real quick look here in the comments and see how we're doing over here. Brenda says, get out of the basement. Angie says, I'm all for that. Pat says, I like that. Get paid twice. Absolutely. Julie's saying, let's get paid twice. Let's. I've done that many, many times. Dave is saying, great points. Thank you, Dave. And Jackie's saying, fear and faith are both beliefs. She says, cough, cough. Mary says, good morning. Good morning. And I'm so glad to see you here. And Dr. Marlene is saying, hey, how you doing? So just really good to see all of you. Thank you so much for joining me today. I do this every week. And so if wherever you're seeing this from, you can subscribe, follow, like, share, comment, smash all the buttons, ring all the bells. But most of all, just be here with me. My whole intention is to share my journey that I've been on for almost 20 years. I come from a place of a lot of experience in all of this, and being able to create the very things I'm talking about to you, understanding how to create them in my own life first, so that I can share with you the tips and strategies and the mindset shifts that'll help you get there too. So hope this was helpful to you. I appreciate it. If you're watching on the replay, be sure you add your comment. Love to see what you have to say. I always respond, and I'll look forward to gathering again with you soon when I appear again on the live video, teaching you more of the things about mindset, copywriting, marketing strategy, and how it all comes together. And that copywriting really is the most valuable skill you could ever acquire. So I'll talk to you again soon. Thanks again for being here.